Welcome, everybody. This is Mr. Nice, and you're watching Kung Fu Fanta. Thank you for everybody who's come in so far. I see Angela in the house, see a few others. I see Nicole Ebony's in the house. Thank you for coming in. Today is the 8th of March, 2026, and I got some things that I'm going to share with you all that I know about Cleo Bonny myself on my personal note, but also I'm also going to share with you some other things that I found out. Um, Not like I haven't heard over the past maybe 2.5 years about him, but it was never really a concern. But there is a lot of confusion about where he is. And if you really start to do a deep dive about where he's actually from, what nationality he actually is, it could be quite confusing because, Cleo Bonny has a thing about saying different things at different times, not answering straight up questions, loves to tell stories in order to basically answer your question, and it never gets around to answering your question based off your question for him to answer. So, a little bit of a mind twister there. But let me tell you a little bit, and I'm going to try to keep this under an hour. And my voice is kind of scratchy. So, one moment. Okay. I had to clear my throat. Didn't want to do that in your ear. So, y'all can hear me, right? Let's get that started here. Y'all can hear me, right? Y'all can hear me? Y'all can hear me, right? Just one person just needs to say yes. Okay, great, great. All right. So let me start off with, I guess we can start off with the COQ, even though it's a little before the COQ, which is Cleo on Trending and Carol, right? The COQ squad. So around that time, I believe it was Carol at the time, maybe even Bonnie, because Bonnie was inboxing my DMs a lot on IG, like it was World War III or something. You know what I mean? I was there's just bombs going off everywhere, meaning that he was constantly reaching out, not in a bad way per se, but just reaching out. And Carol asked me to come on a few times, which I did. Y'all know that I've been on the COQ squad and as a guest, but it was also the time where Black Beauty TV and now I'm forgetting her name. um, Coco Mama said they couldn't do it because they're too busy with their schedules and stuff like that, because that's what I remember the conversation was back then. Okay, so anyway, so let's fast forward to Bonnie getting on my nerves. So Cleo Bonny was getting on my nerves. He would call me a lot on IG. I'd pick up a lot. I work nights. So basically, where I'm here in the US and over in Africa, it's like 11-hour difference. And so when I'm on at a certain time, people probably think that, either I don't work or I never get any sleep. It was just that a lot of times when people were doing the live streams or COQ was on, I just happened, I could live with 4 hours of sleep almost every single day. And that I'm not exaggerating about that. But the thing is, whether if I was asleep or awake, Cleo would call. Not only would he send text messages, but he would call. And the things that he would call me about really weren't relevant. Now, he was never into that conspiracy theory type stuff about Nyabohanse or whatever. Not to me, not towards me in any type of way. But what he would do is that he was very controlling. He would try to control basically what I do with my channel. So there were some things, I don't remember everything that he said, but he did try to like basically kind of tell me what to do with my channel. And I told him straight up I wasn't having that. Nobody tells me what to do with my channel. I don't tell other people to do with, what to do with theirs. Him or anybody else is not going to tell me what they're going to do with my channel. So at the same time, he was also asking me how to grow his channel. If I remember, you know, Cleo Bonny 6 or whatever, and I'm just going to check it out real quick because I could have swore it's in the tens of thousands of subscribers, but he's never been monetized. And when I go to his, when I go to his channel, oh no, it's 13,000. Okay, it's 13,000 subscribers, almost 14,000 subscribers. He's got over 7,000 videos, right? So he's got over 7,000 videos, but he's never been monetized. And if you really go through his channel and look at his videos through the years, you could see why. I remember there's copyright music in some things. He was definitely, playing full episodes of news, of news channels, some of their full episodes without doing any type of commentary or nothing. You're not going to get monetized on stuff like that. And I let him know all that stuff. And while at the same time that I was basically telling him, on how to get monetized, and he would never take your advice anyway, and he would never take anybody else's advice. Then he'd want to say he wanted to promote my channel. And I guess he wanted to promote a lot of people's channels to get it out there. And he would just say some weird things. And he would do this like all the time. It didn't make any sense to me, to the point where it seemed very obsessive with him, to the point where also like you'd be very aggressive on the phone, to the point where you would also think that this is somebody I wouldn't want to be in a dark alley with by myself, because you never know what's going to come at the back of your head. If no pun intended, but if you get the idea, his voice, his demeanor on the phone and everything was just kind of, it was weird. It was very weird. Okay. There's another time before I really started jumping on the COQ squad episodes. I jumped on one, and then I supposedly got in trouble to not jump on the second one or something, somewhere around there in the beginning. And then I started coming on after that. Well, what had happened was Min Howie had this one particular live stream, and I think the subject was to the point where, okay, I jumped in the chat and I was basically kind of debunking what she was saying at the time. Had something to do with Iam Marwa for sure. So Cleo Bonny saw that, and he decided to talk to OT, talk to Carol, and say that I guess I'm on the other side. Why was I even over there? Right. Again, this is his controlling behavior, his controlling nature, as what I should do as a grown adult, where I should be, who I could talk to, and who I could talk to in what kind of way. So if he would have seen why I was on there and I was debunking their narrative about Iam Marwa and scamming and all this other stuff, right? You would see that I wasn't on their side, that I was actually trying to talk a little sense into them at that particular time. And also was at a point where at that time, I wanted to see if Min Howie actually had any sense, which we all know now that she does. It's just that she was playing a role back then, being very aggressive, protecting Iam Marwa. So it was me testing her to see if you can actually talk to her on a level playing field. That was my goal for that day, being inside her chat. So he decided to go on there. So when we're about to go live on COQ, we had a backstage, and on trending was asking why I was over there because Bonnie saw me over there. And Bonnie was like covering his eyes with his with his hat from Vietnam. You couldn't see him, and we're all there. And I was like, okay, yeah, no problem. If you don't want me on today, that's fine. It's no problem. So I let them know exactly why I was over there. I wasn't scared to say why I was on there. I've done it before in the past. I've been a reactor for over 20 plus years. So, I mean, it's like, who's going to tell me what to do? Sure in the hell is it going to be Cleo Bonny, right? And it sure hell is it going to be somebody on Facebook over 20 years ago that nobody here that I know, right? Nobody here that I know here on YouTube knows over at Facebook that I was reacting against. And when I'm in their, when I was in their chats, and this is before Facebook really had video, I was doing a lot of reactions, basically battling people as a keyboard warrior. So I've been doing this for a very long time. And again, nobody's going to tell me what to do. And I sure in the hell ain't going to tell anybody else what to do. All right. So we also have, okay, let's go. Thank you for coming in. I see we have 15 people. Go ahead and get the likes up. So what I'm going to do, everybody, that's my part on me and Cleo. Okay. I basically put him in his place, and when he didn't stop calling, I had to block him at some point. And and also watching JT's interview with him today on the premiere, I'm going to put it like this: Cleo Bonny is very he's easily handled. And what I mean by that, you have to put him in his place. If you don't put him in his place, he's going to do what he did to JT all day today, and he's going to do that to everybody. Doesn't mean you're going to be able to get him to answer your questions, but as far as him kind of like taking over and all that other stuff, he's actually easy to handle. He's not hard to handle in that kind of way. Um, and he's the type of person where I can only imagine how many times that people throughout the world, because all the countries he's been to, how many people have had to kick him out of their house. It's obvious that's happened. We've seen that happen once to Iam Marwa, right? Right? With Ivan. So just imagine how many times Cleo has had this happen to him based on his behavior, right? So it's like people like that. He's very I was watching Ian Rubert's live stream today before I started my own. I just wanted to see what they had to say about him. It was an okay live stream. I enjoyed it. Um, they're coming from, at him. Well, he was coming at him at a point of, in my opinion, of, maybe he can be rehabilitated, kind of like, let's see if he actually changed when he goes back to South Africa. Everybody's eye is going to be on him. Let's see if he's actually going to be a good person for now on, this and that. Like he was never a good person to begin with, as far as we know. But how do you say that people who believe everything I Am Marwa says is a good person? I mean, these are the type of people that are following him. But not everybody that follows Marwa is a bad person either. They're not crazy and all this other stuff. They just watch him because he's entertaining, and that's it. But again, I like the live stream, and again, I was over there watching because I wanted to see what they had to say, and nobody's going to tell me whatsoever where to go and listen to people and watch what videos I want to watch. So I won't do that to anybody, and I'm not going to do that. Don't expect anybody to do that to me. But neither here nor there. I wanted to hear what they had to say about him. All right, so what I'm going to share with you guys today is a lot of stuff that I have found. Maybe a few of you have done it yourselves. But what I want to do is actually kind of figure out, like, where is Cleo Bonny from? Now, the popular notion is that he's from South Africa. He sounds South African to me, right? He's never had a different voice from what I heard from anywhere else. I never heard him change his voice. I heard him go speaking fast to slow, slow to fast. Your voice might sound a little bit different when you do that. That's because you're changing the speed of your voice, but he still sounds the same to me. Now, over the past week, there's been people in Carol's chats and a lot of other people's chats saying that he's not South African, we don't claim him. He's not Malawian, we don't claim him. He's not Namibian, we don't claim him, right? And some other countries. And then today, some people were saying that he said, I guess yesterday, that he was from Nigeria, or alluded to that he was from Nigeria. So whether if Cleo knows it or not, if he's playing games with people or not, I'm not phased by Cleo, because Cleo to me is somebody who's simply deranged. And if he's a con artist, he's a con artist. The only question I would have lately, if you really think about it, because a lot of other people have been thinking about it, I think lately, is like, where for all these years, where does he get all that money to travel? If he doesn't have a job, how does he always have money to travel? Some people might be thinking, oh, he probably inherited that money from, his family. He's probably somebody gave him a lot of money. Maybe he does some piecework on the side, maybe he does voiceovers and stuff like that. And there are people that make money like that, and they constantly travel. We don't know. Maybe he actually is teaching English in places like China and other countries. But the thing is like, okay, if there's anything I really want to know about Cleo, to be honest with you, is like, how does he make all that money to travel? Or does he already have a lot of money saved up to travel? Because he travels a lot more than Iam Marwa does. A lot more. And has for a very long time. And I'm also going to guess to say that his age, if anybody was curious, he's approximately 47 years old right now. And he does look the part. He does look about that age. He doesn't look bad for his age, but he definitely looks about 47. And I think he's about 47, and I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you why. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Let's see. Do we have OG? Well, somebody's saying OG. There's probably some other people I can't see here. Let's see. I don't see Nicole and Angela speaking to Nicole. Okay, so I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, let's see what Angela says. But after reactions, Cleo was going from house to house in different African countries of older women eating. And maybe there's a lot of older women out there that like his company, just like older men, a lot of times if they're lonely and stuff like that. And he's admitted he's lonely. They like to do a lot of talking. Maybe he brings a good conversation. But a lot of people, they like to feed other people that make them feel good. So maybe in some type of way, he makes people feel good. And I can actually see that, to be honest with you. But listening to his story, I do think there's really something wrong within him, inside him, genuinely. I really do think there's an area in his heart where he does feel very lonely. I do think he is very lonely, because to me, looking at his life and going through his videos over the past couple of years, kind of off and on, it does seem like he lives a very lonely type of life. And I'll explain that as well once I go through some of these videos and some articles that I found about him. Okay. He is looking for a mother and father figure. Yep. And I heard him talk about that as well. So let me go ahead and get started by you all hearing what he has to say in this one video of his. So let me go ahead and get this video shared, because we need to hear it from the horse's mouth, right? We need to hear it from the horse's mouth. And no better person to do that than, well, I guess, Cleo Bonny himself. And let's see. What is this called? South African literacy. Okay. All right. So this is his video. This is one of his more recent videos on his, well, it's not his channel that I know of. It's called Network Media Hub. And this video is a year old. And this, I guess, was out of Namibia. And if y'all remember, before my other channel got taken down, I read an article about him being arrested in Namibia. I think I found that article today, but I'm not going to read it again. But from reading it, I think it's the same article that I read back in that video. So, but we got to hear what he says in this video so y'all can hear it for yourself and let it be on the record.
Yeah, my name. Good morning. Welcome to Namibia. I'm from South Africa. We are in Windhoek at the stadium here, and today is actually very, very significant. And being here, it's fantastic. We came early here. Yesterday we went to view the body, and today we also doing our. Yeah, my name. Good morning. Welcome to Namibia. I'm from South Africa. We are in.
Okay, so he's in Namibia. Welcome to Namibia. He's in South Africa. So let's see when this video was put up. Click on here. It was put up on the 27th of February, 2025. So it's been over a year. So this is around the time I guess he was arrested or what have you. I don't remember exactly because I no longer have that video. And but we heard it himself. He's from South Africa, according to what he is saying. However, that doesn't mean he's from South Africa, right? So there's another thing that he brought up when he was speaking to JT, and I heard him bring it up, I think, with Marwa and them as well. He's talking about AI. He starts playing around with the word AI. I'm going to tell you right now, when it comes to Cleo Bonny, the only thing about AI when it comes to Cleo Bonny, if he's practicing Chinese Kung Fu, and let me give you an example, okay? Let me give you an example of Cleo Bonny and Chinese Kung Fu. Okay, that that is AI. When it comes to Cleo Bonny, that's the only AI you're actually going to see. When he's doing Chinese Kung Fu, then that's AI. When he's talking with his mouth, that is not AI. When he's telling stories, that is not AI. When he's being interviewed, that is not AI. This here, this is AI. Okay, so that's going to be your AI when it comes to Cleo Bonny. Make no mistakes about it. Okay, so okay then. All right, Nicole. Hey there, missed your live jab 58. Thank you for being in. Angela says, I was still watching Cleo after reactions and he was a mess. He even said weird things to me, so I stopped watching him. Yeah, and he says a lot of weird things. Now, the reason why I don't spend so much time or never spent much time on really analyzing Cleo the whole time that he was on COQ and all that is because I never really trusted him. And I never really trusted him when I started seeing him on KOT. Okay. Um, King of Travel. There's just something off putting about him that made me say to myself, I was like, man, there's something about this guy that's fake. And I knew it way back then. There's something about him that's really fake. Doesn't mean I didn't have any respect for him, but that was before I even talked to him. So, there's something about the way that some people come off that make you know that there's something off about them. Iam Marwa is definitely like that. He's definitely like that. D is definitely like that. Junior is definitely like that. Christmas List is most definitely like that. And so Cleo is no different in that aspect. But, I'm the type of person I give the benefit of the doubt. And the benefit of the doubt was actually interacting with him when it came to the COQ squad. And what followed after, which was basically me being flooded with DMs by him, either by chat and mostly phone calls through IG. And it just got absolutely ridiculous. And then trying to control me with my channel and then wanting to promote me and then ask me questions about how to grow a YouTube channel, but he doesn't take any of your advice or anybody else's. This guy was just all over the place. Just like when you try to talk to him, he's all over the place. He's like that over the phone. Like, I swear to God, he's like that over the phone. So we got a Jab. Hi, Jab. Oh, when you're saying Jab, I forget. We have somebody here named Jab 58. I was thinking Jab with the Kung Fu video. Sorry about that. Greetings, OKO. KOT even tried to warn people about him. I'm not aware of that, but he's got his own reasons. Hello. Okay, so we got Nicole. Was trying okay, he was trying to control JT channel today. Oh, yeah, yeah, you can see that, you can see that. Basically, and trying to be funny at the same time. I mean, the way he laughed and kinda, like, tried to control him is the same way he tried to speak to me over the phone. First you let it go a few times just so you can figure it out, but when the conversation keeps going with different phone calls, I had to stop him a few times. I really did, because he was just getting absolutely ridiculous, and very disrespectful, and I don't think he sees that. I really don't. So, okay, so now let me have you guys see this. Did you know he was an actor? He played very small roles on a TV station called SABC, which I can only imagine stands for South Africa Broadcast Channel. So I got another video here. I'm not going to play the audio because there's some music in the front, but you're going to see him carrying some cables behind the cameraman. He's wearing all yellow, well, yellow and white, but a yellow shirt, yellow head wrap. Watch. And this video says it's 10 years old because he uploaded 10 years ago, but this video is definitely 20 or more years old. Okay, that's him in the yellow. You can see he's a young Cleo Bonny. Somebody being a famous rapper or something in this, being kissed by all the ladies. Okay, so this is a set. Looks like this might have been a pretty cool show though. But there's Cleo. There's Cleo. No speaking roles. Okay, so they really don't show much. There's other little clips of the same episode or so that I found, but you could tell this like back in the days of VHS, video housing system, because you can see all the squiggly distortion at the bottom. That's what VHS tape used to do quite a bit when it got bad. So whoever recorded this was most likely recorded on TV in South Africa on VHS or maybe even Betamax, um, and then uploaded it to YouTube at some point. Okay. All right. So then we have another one here. Now, this one I will play the audio, but we have to get past the music first. Now, this is still SABC. Again, I don't know what year this is, but you're going to see how young Cleo was. And it says NWU Mafeking campus. So this is probably a college campus or maybe a high school campus. There's a lot of private schools in Africa and stuff like that. So it might be a campus like that, as well as like middle school ages and stuff. I have no idea. So let's get through the part to where they start interviewing him. Then I'll turn on the audio because the music will be passed. Let's make sure you're seeing what I'm seeing. Okay. But yeah, again, this is very old. It's the 4:3 video format. The quality is probably only 240 um, frames per second, not frames per second, P progressive. But let's go ahead and turn on the audio and listen to what they have to say.
Little booklet will encourage young
And it's very low
children
audio on this
to
particular video.
develop a reading culture. So guys, let's give it up for Cleo. Yeah.
What's up? How you doing, Jay?
Oh, cool, man.
Yeah, sweet, man.
Yeah, man.
Cool. Welcome to the winners.
Oh, cool,
Yeah, feel
cool.
free, feel at home, All right, cool, my man. And let's start. So, when did you develop the passion for reading books?
Hey, it's been years. I was like 5 and 6 years old.
So if you didn't hear him, he said, "When did you develop the passion for like going on this reading campaign?" Because that's what Cleo Bonny was doing, going to different countries, trying to promote children to read, probably even adults, but children to read. So he's saying he was 6 years old. It's been a passion of his. So let's continue.
And my mother used to smack me out to read a book and things like that. So started from there. It wasn't easy, but as time went on and just grew in me and just love books, reading almost everything that I laid my hands on. So like it's really happening now. I'd like to share the passion with the learners of across Africa, and that's the dream.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow, 45 books in a month.
So basically, he said his mother smacked him to read and all this other stuff. So they basically forced him to get him in the habit of loving to read. And he's saying here that in 1 month he read 45 books. Um, I've met people that have done that. I know people that have actually done that in my family. So it's like if you have a passion to read, I mean, you probably have women do this a lot. You know, they have a lot of romance novels and stuff like that. I have an aunt that's like that actually. She'll buy all these cheap romance novels that are used books, and she'll read literally like 20 of them in a month because that's like her hobby. So he said he read 45 books in a month. I'm not going to take that from him. You know, he probably actually did. But let's continue.
That's how
Yeah,
good.
sometimes it's stated books. It all depends with the environment and all that.
Wow, and you managed to motivate over 50,000 students
Actually, it's more than that.
more than
It's
that
more than that. Yeah.
around
I've
South
been,
Africa.
I've
How
been
did
to
you manage to
90
do this?
schools and across South Africa and to all the provinces. I mean, yeah.
How did you manage to do this?
Yeah, it's the books. If it wasn't for the books, I wouldn't have been able to do that. So I think if you read a lot, then you just got that courage in him.
Okay, so he asked him a very key question that I think JT tried to ask him. Let's see if we can catch that again.
More than that, yeah.
Around
I've
South
been,
Africa.
I've
How
been
did
to
you
90.
manage to motivate over 50,000 students
Actually, it's more than that.
more than
It's
that
more than that, yeah.
around
I've
South
been,
Africa?
I've
How
been
did
to
you manage
90
to do this?
schools and across South Africa and to all the provinces. I mean, yeah.
How did you manage to do this?
Yeah, it's
So he said basically you managed to influence like 50,000 kids throughout South Africa, right? And the one question he asked him that could have been, you know, more or less what JT was, I think, was trying to allude to today was, how did you manage to do that? So like how are you capable of doing that? You got to be financed to do that. You know what I'm saying? You really do have to be financed to do that. You're not just getting a free ride on your own if you have no money, right? So this is the question I ask. You know, it's like, do you inherit money? Does it come from a rich family? Did they help him out to do this? Did they see his passion and funded his trips? You know, because he's still traveling today, but now he's traveling to different countries, not just around South Africa, right? So like how did he do that? Because he doesn't really explain. He just says that's what books do for you, you know, for reading books. We'll listen to it one more time to get it from him. But he doesn't really explain even back then, and this had to be at least 20 years ago. He's not explaining like how is that even possible? So let me go back to the beginning of when the question started and try to listen to the answer. And if you play it back after this live stream is over and really turn up your volume, you'll be able to hear what both of them are saying.
environment and all that.
Wow, and you managed to motivate over 50,000 students
Actually, it's more than that.
more than
It's
that
more than that, yeah.
around
I've
South
been,
Africa.
I've
How
been
did
to
you manage
90
to do this?
schools and across South Africa and to all the provinces. I mean, yeah.
How did you manage to do this?
Yeah, it's the books. If it wasn't for the books, I wouldn't have been able to do that. So I think if you read a lot, then you just got that courage and bravery, and you just go for it. So if it wasn't for the books, I wouldn't have afforded to do that. And that
If it wasn't for the books, I would never been able to afford to do that. So that makes me wonder, did he get some type of stipend from colleges to go around and promote books, or was it from some publishing company? Was it his parents? You know, so that the question, excuse me, was never answered. And again, that's what we see him doing today. He'll come up, he basically told a story, but there was no answer within that story that explains how that is possible.
do it myself, and it's like help learners and all that, primary schools, high schools, universities, with librarians and all that across South Africa. And next year I'll be going to other countries, and that's what I want to try to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, you're on a mission, my man. Okay, so now how the students and teachers responded to the
Yeah,
motivational talk
you
that
know,
you've been giving?
it's like, okay, I gotta tell you like this thing first. It's like the first time I'm in the class, like all the kids is sort of, thinking, scheming like this dude, what can he offer us. But as soon as you start interacting with them and start telling them, commenting on their reading and things like that, they always, improve instantly, not like tomorrow, not like next year, and things like that. It's something that takes place instantly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, for sure. Let's give him a hand. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So tell us. Okay, I've been waiting to ask this question. Okay, what are the challenges of getting around, like from one province to another, country to country?
Okay, hold on.
Because
Okay, what are the challenges of getting around from one province to another? So let me play that back just a little bit. getting from one location to the other. I definitely want to hear this because I didn't go this far when I found this video.
Getting around, like from one province to another country to country.
Okay, the first thing is like, because mostly, there's no bucks, there's no money and all that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard. So those are just one of the challenges. And the other thing is, the schools needs me, understand? And they call me and they want me to be there. And sometimes I can't be there because, there's not money at all. But I always give you the best shot to be,
Yeah.
to make myself available.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, okay, let's talk about this booklet that managed to help.
Okay, so like for example, now I don't know if other countries do this, but in America, a lot of public schools they have this budget. They'll have guest speakers at the primary schools, the middle schools, and the high schools for somebody to come over to say from like Kenya, like maybe they want to invite somebody from the Maasai tribe and speak to the children about what life is like in Africa as a Maasai, right? And they'll pay them like they'll pay for the airfare, they'll pay for their accommodations, room and board. They'll also pay them like a stipend. Like I've heard all the way up to $5,000 to $8,000 for a speaking engagement at a primary school. Like no joke, schools in America do that. So that makes me wonder if South Africa does something like that.
Over 50,000 students. Okay, the young commentator, what's it all about?
Okay, mostly it's about me, all right? It's about a kid who has dreams to achieve. So he's chilling with his friends, telling them that he wants to achieve his dreams. So his friends schemes that this dude is being impossible because he's poor. So therefore, he will never be able to realize his dreams. But then suddenly everything starts happening and he starts imagining because he wants to be a commentator for soccer match. Then he starts imagining he's a commentator and then he's commentating for soccer match, two teams, reality team and wish team. And the names are named after the countries like South Africa, Zambia, Kenya. Those are the names of the players in the team. So it's a great book. And at the end of the book, when he wants to go home, he realized that he's already there at home and he was just imagining. And he looks at the wooden spoon, which he thought was a microphone in his hand, you know. So I realized that it's just imagining there. But when he grows up, then buys a radio station, encourages people to read books and explain to them how books can make them intelligent.
Okay, so I guess that.
I have to agree with that. Books do and can make people intelligent. Um, I'm pretty sure a lot of people, even my wife said this about, I think it was her mother, because her mother was a teacher, that she wanted her kids to read newspaper articles. And I've heard other people say they want their kids to read newspaper articles. I think even what was it? The lawyer Larry Elders, if I could remember listening to a story about him and his dad not getting along, but the way his dad raised him to do some things. I think he was one of the ones where his dad wanted him to read news articles growing up, not just books, because back then there wasn't the internet and you could get news and you don't always have time to turn on the TV. So it's like I really do believe that in what Cleo Bonny is saying. And also I have a feeling the way Cleo Bonny is now, I think when he was doing all this years ago, that maybe it didn't go as planned for him. And this is just my thoughts. It didn't go as planned for him. And so somewhere along the line, maybe that feeling of loneliness came into his life to where nobody is listening to him, or what I'm campaigning for and striving for just isn't working on a big enough scale that, I really think he wanted to be famous, kind of like a Nelson Mandela at the same time, be like a real pioneer in doing something for the continent. So I do have that feeling that he has some very sincere attributes about him wanting to help people. And to do that is starting with the youth.
That answers my question of what inspired you. So your whole life to where you are now inspired you to write the book. And
Absolutely.
for sure, nice
Yeah.
one. Yeah. Okay. All right, cool. We have a big question that we always ask our guests on World of Winners. And as you see, our show is called World of Winners. We consider you as a winner in life. So we'd like to know, what does it take to be a winner in life?
Okay, the first thing I think, the main things that can, make a person to become a winner, I think the first thing is like the circumstances, the people go through, some like the problems and things like the plights, at home and things like that. Those are just one of the things that makes people to try to, to prove themselves, that they can be, someone, in their life. And the other thing is, I think, from my experience and from, I'd like to say that, people can read books and probably we can see now maybe young kids becoming inventors, great thinkers, maybe even writers with a fresh voice, and maybe leaders, intelligent leaders who can actually be responsible for African economy, because we need new leaders in Africa and in South Africa, because all these leaders are getting old. So as I said to people, that if you don't read, the day you stop reading is the day you start getting old.
I can agree with that. Who can agree with him that the day you stop reading is the day you start getting old? I mean, even if you read like one thing on TV a day or read a sign during the day, I mean, I know some people, they don't even read anything when they go out in public. It's like they read absolutely nothing. It's like they're done with reading. It's just like they want to listen to whatever it is they want to read, right? So I can agree with that.
And there's no education without reading at all. And I think speed reading is very important, because it will help you to read many books, you understand. But if you just read one book in a month, or you understand, and slow reading and things like that, it slows it in your it slows your comprehension as well. So speed reading, I think, is a very important element.
Yeah. Next one. Yeah, let's give it a hand.
And I do agree with them there as well, because I've heard teachers talk about this, and I've also watched shows about it. Speed reading actually is a great thing. It does help you learn, and it helps you get through your material a lot quicker if you master the art of speed reading. It's a great thing. Of course, you don't talk to people in the audience when you're giving a speech, right? With speed reading, you're going to slow down for them. But when it comes to your own development, speed reading actually is a skill, and it can help you learn faster, and it can help you it can help you read through a lot more material. So I definitely agree with that.
Okay, guys,
Okay, so that's it for that video. So let me see what else we got here. Okay, so I found something on another channel, and Cleo has a lot of channels. I don't know if all of them are his, but I would guess that they are, because a lot of these channels, they have a lot of uploads 11 years ago. And when I mean 11 years ago, he was doing a lot of uploading 11 years ago. Probably the majority of all his uploaded videos were 11 years ago. And what I've noticed about those videos on these different channels, they were other like material coming from TV stations, or maybe somebody else's video camera that they uploaded, their content. And so that's what I was noticing, is a lot of that. So this video basically obviously was from a news station or something, and it was put to text, basically what was said in the interview. So it's titled Great History Cleo Bonny 1998 at Thuthuka Casting Agency, Training for Television. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm just going to read this page. Let me make sure you guys are seeing what I'm seeing, so that'll be good. All right. So it goes on to say, Thuthuka Casting, Cleo Bonny, reading ambassador from Malawi. And it says Malawi, from Malawi, right? And if this is Cleo Bonny History Channel is his, which has 18 subscribers, then he made no issues about being said that he's from Malawi, and he didn't correct it. Okay. Cleo Bonny training to become one of the TV personality, and the training session is based on an interview. Cleo is given the opportunity to interview his coach and demonstrate what he had grasped from the trainer. This was in 1999, Orange Grove, Johannesburg, South Africa, South Africa, Gauteng province. So it's either a mistake on the screen at 1999 or 1998. So we're talking quite a while ago, right? So, but it says either 1999 or 1998. It's saying on the screen, Cleo Bonny, reading ambassador from Malawi. So that's one video that we have saying that he's from Malawi. But he said in that first video I showed you when he was in Namibia that he's from South Africa. So you're going to have to leave it up to yourself on where is he really from. And again, if this is his channel, how come that wasn't corrected if he's from South Africa? So let's go on to the next one. This one is another kind of like an interview. Again, it's the same type of thing. It's still on the Cleo Bonny History Channel. The front part is just all still images. Then it goes into text. But if you look up here, and most of the world, what they do is that they go day, month, year, not month, day, year. So this is the 18th of June, 2010. 2010. Okay. So it says, great history, Cleo Bonny reading envoy from Malawi arrives in Swaziland, Swazi TV. So now he's in Swaziland. It's now, I just can't remember the name of the country because they changed the name. It's no longer called Swaziland. So let me go forward a little bit. So this is the guy he's being interviewed with. And then let me get to some text. Swaziland presenter, welcome to Breakfast Kusile show. And I'm with Cleo Bonny from Malawi. He is a self appointed ambassador of reading and a motivator. Let's talk to young people. Cleo, presenter, what is the importance of reading? Right. So Cleo goes to say, reading is very important. If people don't read, the world, nations, and the youth will have difficulties solving problems, which I do agree with. And if people are not reading, they will not be able to handle difficult matters. They will not know the good way of dealing with the challenges they come across. Things are not going to be well, especially for the youths who are not able to concentrate or conduct themselves. And that means poverty and corruption will continue. Well, he's not lying about that, right? But again, it's stating here that Cleo Bonny is from Malawi, and this is Swaziland, which is landlocked in South Africa. Like, it's landlocked. Okay. So, excuse me. So again, this is the second time we're seeing that it says Malawi, same channel, no correction, nothing like that. Okay. So let's go to another one. This is in Lesotho. This is another landlocked country in South Africa. All right, make sure you guys are watching what I'm seeing. Okay. Okay. So there's a new news article, Daily News. Can't see exactly what country it says on the paper there. The young commentator. Okay. Okay. He's speaking in this one, I believe. Let me see here. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So because of reading, that gave him power. He said he had no help getting to, what was that, 15 countries or 15 locations? Let me go back a little bit. Okay. So 15 countries. Okay, so what this is telling me is that either somebody funded him and he's just not saying that, or maybe he was hitchhiking, which I have seen people in Africa do that. So maybe he was hitchhiking. I don't know. It's not a very safe thing to do, but still, it doesn't really answer how he travels. This citizen of Malawi. Let's go back and hear him again. This citizen of Malawi. So this is a South African broadcast saying that this citizen of Malawi is here in South Africa doing these things. Let's continue. Okay, so that was pretty interesting to me. Again, towards the end, he did mention something about I hope the press supports me. Is he talking about monetarily to help him travel, or just to give him the coverage, or both? The press, depending on who's in charge, has been known to sponsor people for their travels to do certain things. So because they get a story out of it, of course, and it's good for it, it's good for their audience. So it's not like the press won't do it. So maybe he was asking on the press to support him with some of his travels for this campaign. But let's go on to another video. And this one, I believe, is that in Namibia. And this one's quite old. Um, it was uploaded on the 10th of 2009, but I think this video is actually older than 2009. So that's like 16, 17 years ago. But let's check it out. Let's check it out. Turn on the audio. There we go. Malawi born. Let's hear that again. Okay, so particularly around children. So the main focus is children because if you get to the younger generation to read, you're going to have a better future. So, but he's not totally excluding an older audience to start to read. So that's a good thing. Now she just said this is a second time in Namibia, right? And this is at least 16 to maybe 20 years old. Okay, so you just heard what she said. This is Cleo Bonny. His. Remember, Cleo Bonny says he doesn't know if he's a man or a woman. Well, Cleo Bonny definitely isn't a fly. He's definitely not a tick. He's definitely a man because this woman here just said that he is. So he wasn't confused during this time. So why is he confused now? Try looking for that book, everybody. The Young Commentator by Cleo Bonny. The Young Commentator by Cleo Bonny. I'm going to see if I can see if that's on Amazon while this continues to play. Okay, I'm looking it up real quick, everybody. Let me see if I can find it. Just because it's not on Amazon doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I just wanted to see if it was possible to find it, and if it was, I would have purchased it just so I can read one of what Cleo Bonny is writing in a book. There's a book here I'm seeing in 1984. The Glass is Singing, and there's a picture that kind of looks like him, but I doubt it's him. Oh, actually, that's a movie. Never mind. Okay. No, I can't find them on Amazon, anybody, but if y'all can look up, if you're in Africa and there's some well-known bookstores, like we have a couple in Nairobi, it might be sold there. I wouldn't be surprised. So let's go ahead and go on to the next one. Now, this one, we're going to start going way back. We got some dates on some stuffs. We're going to be going way back. So I got to kind of read this because this is a newspaper clipping that somebody videoed. So Born to Read. So if you look at the date, it's Tuesday, October the 30th, 2007. That's that's what 19 years ago. 19 years ago. That was the year that I got married. 2007. Okay, it says here, Born to Read. Cleo Bonny is a young Malawian, again saying Malawian, on a mission to get the whole of Africa reading. When I was small, about 5 years old, I used to think my mother was evil because she would force me to read. Cleo says, but since then, he has become passionate about reading, that he's traveling around the continent to promote it and has been doing so since 2001. So now we know he's been doing this since 2001. And remember, I said earlier, he's around 47 years old. So 2001 is 6 years before that. So that would make him, 2007 would make him what, 27 years old, probably around there, 27, 28. So he started doing this in 2001. So that would make him about 22 years of age. So he's been starting this since he's about 22 years of age. So he's also on here saying countries including South Africa. So he's visiting South Africa, he's visiting Zimbabwe, he's visiting Botswana, and arrived in Windhoek on Tuesday. And then the paper gets crumpled up, so I can't read the rest of it. So that's 2007. That's a short video, and this is on a channel called Cleo Bonny Museums, which was, again, uploaded 11 years ago. Remember I said on all these channels I've been finding, 11 years ago is the primary backlog of videos that have been uploaded to these different YouTube channels. So he's recording his history by uploading anything and everything. Like, I'm sure he videoed this news clipping himself and then took the other news articles from TV stations to upload so he could keep a record of what he's done. Okay. This doesn't mean that he's good friends with presidents of different countries. Just because you meet and put yourself in a position, like get up close to where you can be faced with the president at a function, doesn't mean you actually know the person. I actually know he was called, I guess, the original genius kid of Kenya. And he got to speak. There's a famous little boy. Well, it's a famous photo of a little boy speaking and whispering in the ear of Moi, President Moi back in the day. And Kibaki, who was the later president after him, used to be his vice president. Well, that's my friend. His name is Bethuel Mbukwa. And he's got an interesting story. But his father took him there on purpose, knowing that the president was going to be there so he could run up on stage. And the president said, yeah, just let the boy come up to the security. And he whispered something in the president's ear. But I know that person personally. He's infamous, but he's not famous. But that doesn't mean he knew the president, right? So Cleo Bonny doesn't know Ruto of Kenya. He knows who he is because of TV, just like he knows every other president, but he's not a friend of Ruto. This is something that is obvious about him, because a friend of Ruto really is not going to brag about it, not in the way that he does, right? I mean, when you actually know somebody in the way that you speak, you could kind of know when somebody actually knows somebody instead of somebody claiming that they know somebody. Like seriously. Let's see here. Okay, so now let's go to a news article. Now, this is a news article out of Namibia, but it's from allafrica.com. They clipped it, and it says here the 16th of November 2007. So we're here in 2007, and this is Namibia, and this is the Economist, and it says here in Windhoek, 28-year-old is saying his age, 28 years old, 2007. So if you look at if this was 2027, he would be 48 years old, right? In November. So he's about 47 years old. So a 28-year-old Cleo Bonny, a Malawian citizen and claiming he's from Malawi again, who is passionate about reading, plans to travel the world promoting the culture of reading. He is currently visiting schools in Namibia, encouraging learners to read more as he will improve their knowledge and gain more information, he said, to start with this project. He struggled with his finances. Oh, so here it's saying he struggled with his finances, resulting in him writing a book on children titled The Young Commentator. And then it's cut off. Now, I did find a private blog that had the full article because I went to Namibia Economist, and since this is such an old article, they didn't have a record of this article. But I read the whole article. Well, I was going to read the whole article, but if you just type in this title, the same one, you'll find somebody's private blog, and you can read the entire article from the Namibia Economist about Cleo Bonny. Okay, so let's go to the next one. And this is going to get even a little more interesting, but I can't really read what I see in this one because I mean I can enlarge it, but it's on my side, it's going to blur. Let me just see. Yeah, so the smaller writing will blur, but you see it's July 21st, 2006, the prior year, right? Malawi International on a reading mission. So this is why some of those South Africans that were in one of Carol's live stream saying he's a Malawian, he ain't one of us. And somebody from Zimbabwe said the same thing. He's not one of us. Right. So I mean, I could start to read a little bit of this text, but it starts to get too blurry for me. So I'm not even going to try. But you can find this. All you have to do is look up Cleo Bonny under images on Google, and you'll find this clip. You'll definitely find this clip. Okay. Now, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to do. It's actually been just a little over an hour. I had 37 people watching. Please get the likes up. I really appreciate everybody being here. So it's like when you listen to Cleo Bonny, I'm not saying for anybody to feel sorry for the guy. So at this point, I really do believe in my heart of hearts that what he was doing for all these years a long time ago, something didn't work out for him. Maybe he thought he can get people to change their minds and they didn't. Like politics in Africa, you just can't get the old politicians to do anything right for the countries, right? I mean, um, that's the old saying, basically. I think something like that happened, and I think he got discouraged. I really do think he got discouraged, and I think he probably burned some bridges along the way. And when you burn bridges, you know what happens. You know, people don't want to talk to you. People don't want to be associated with you. He is a bit narcissistic. I'm gonna have to say that, and I think he's a little bit worse than Marwa, to be honest with you, in a more kinder way. But he's still, I think he's a little bit worse than Marwa when it comes to that. Because Marwa, we know he's a narcissist to the heart. But I would say that I would not invite him to tea at my place. I'm just going to be honest with you, based on my past with him personally, and I really didn't want to have a past with this guy. Right? That's why I never really got involved with him behind the scenes with him other than just talking to him a little bit and seeing where he is in the head. When I was talking on COQ with Mike Ventures out of Nyabohanse, I didn't trust that guy either because I knew there's something wrong with him. Even though I was saying, "Oh yeah, he's already got a YouTube channel." You may remember I used to say, "Oh, this guy's had a YouTube channel for 16 years. Probably one of the first people in Nyabohanse to have one." But I didn't trust him because one, he was promoting LGBT on one of his videos. So that's one reason I didn't promote it. He was promoting it within his village, which was just crazy. It was crazy. And the reason why he did that, obviously, is because he spent a little bit of time in Spain. So he got with somebody in Spain and he came back with that nasty stuff. Okay. Came back promoting that nasty stuff. Now, here's the other thing about Mike. Found out he's a scammer. So I never trusted him. And basically, when I was being nice with him, I was trying to get stuff out of him while he was on those panels just to see where he's at. And sure enough, he showed himself. So I don't have to, dig deep into that, but that's the kind of attitude I had with Cleo, right? Because like I told you, if you all watched the beginning, when he was on KOT, there's something about him I just didn't trust. There's something off about him. But again, you don't have to hate the guy or anything like that, but I wouldn't trust him, to be honest with you, based on what we've been seeing, we've been hearing that's been coming out of his mouth, the way he moves. I think whatever his past experiences are, it didn't work out for him, and he's changed, and I don't think he's changed for the better. So, and it makes you wonder, he does move around a lot. He travels a lot, so it kind of makes you wonder, where does he get all that money to travel with? Is he really getting a lot of people donating money to him? Like that's all I would really care to know about him. I don't care any more to know about him than that. So basically, this video was just to kind of see, where does this guy come from? So in my conclusion from everything that I showed you guys, I think he's born and raised in Malawi. I think he's a Malawian. And I think the only person who can come out and say the truth about that is if it's not his own mother, which I think if I can remember, I think he said his mom passed away, but don't quote me on that, or himself, to tell the truth, because he's saying he's from South Africa, but everybody in the newspapers and the TV stations are saying he's from Malawi, from different countries. So take it with a grain of salt. If you want to invite him, be nice to him, go right ahead. I won't try to discourage anybody, but just be careful. I'm just telling you right now, be careful. I've warned people about other people and I was right. And I feel like I'm right about what I'm saying right now about Cleo Bonny. Just be nice to him. If you don't want to have anything to do with him on a personal level, just just don't communicate with the guy. Watch what everybody's doing. I guess with that they talk about him on reactions or whatever, and what he says in his own videos and other people's videos, then fine. But other than that, I would have nothing to do with the guy, to be honest with you. Verve, thank you for coming in. Let me see what you got to say. When people show you who they are, show you who they are, believe them. He said he's lonely and looking to fit in somewhere. He's a bookworm. Oh yeah, I definitely know he's a bookworm, and I do believe he is lonely. I definitely believe that. And by him saying he wanted to fit in, he's mentioned that before. He's mentioned that before. So that's kind of obvious by his behavior. By the way, he kept bugging me and basically calling me up a lot and just basically jam packing my DMs. That's he wanted to be a part of something. He wanted to be a part of somebody, and he wanted to drag me in to be a part of whatever he wanted to do on YouTube, and I wasn't going to do it. I just wasn't going to do it. I didn't trust the guy. So yeah, I do believe he's lonely. I do believe he wants to fit in somewhere. I do believe he's looking for a mother and father figure somewhere out there, and he's definitely good at reading, but he's somebody I don't trust. He's somebody I really don't trust. Verve, thank you for coming in. Everybody, thank you for coming in. I'm going to go ahead and cut it here, everybody. I appreciate you all being here. And on that note, this is Mr. Nice with Kung Fu Fanta, and I'm out. Cheers.